Ordered September 23rd. Any concerns? And they have your phone number?
So let me back up for a minute, Mr. Chair. I am pleased to introduce Farrell. And recently, yesterday, started with us as the new director of finance and human resources. And I'll turn it over her to, well, I will start by having everyone introduce themselves. So I'm Carl Hughes.
That's your 12-year old. And
Let's see.
Kevin Markowski.
You're
25 years old.
And Jim Richards, I've been here as well, about 25 years.
There we go now, and Ryan's been here about 3 months.
All right.
Sure.
Sarah, I was director of finance.
So, yeah, as you can tell, we have a significant tenure on the board. Valuable historic perspective. With us since, Forest Park days. Worked with us through the entire process of tearing that down and rebuilding it, and then, Larry Bridge Housing. They did resident services. A lot of action on 2020.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. You're welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Approval minutes, the, I guess, 11th, 2025. Second. Session. There was the item. The motion for the consent agenda. All those favors say aye. Aye. No report?
Unfortunately, and by all measure, incorrectly, the Vermont Human Rights Commission determined that there were reasonable grounds for the income. But they alleged to be a 10-month delay in approving a reasonable accommodation for an emotional support animal. And then subsequently some actions past property managers going to dogs at Hickory Street. I think I'll reserve the rest of my comments for executive session. We do have 6 months to negotiate a resolution. We are working on that as we speak. Like we get this wrapped up pretty quickly. With court electrical upgrades, as you know, the last time we put this out to bid, the sole response was significantly higher than the cost estimate that we performed. So we regrouped a bit. It did bring on a consultant. Help manage that program. And we are making incremental progress. Got some good news to share. As you may recall, in the past, we had submitted to the ADI for property casualty liability insurer applications under their loss prevention fund. This is a completely anonymous process in that the applications are required not to mention any identifying information. So that it can be quickly unbiased review of the proposals. They received 87 proposals this year. I think they funded maybe 15. They funded one for $300,000. It's the largest award that they did this year. I can report that the housing clerk will be receiving a $300,000 grant towards the completion of the tunnel. Yeah, that was great news. Great news. And I share with you the fact that it's a completely anonymous process because, as you may recall, I'm the incoming chair of the HEI Group Board of Directors. So it wasn't because of me. To the extent that the review committee approved the grant was for. It wasn't in the grant application itself, which stood on its own merits. It was totally unbiased process. I did submit the application under Gretchen's name. So it's good thing.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Gretchen, for your great work. By hitting submit. Naturally, that's great news. That's going to enable us to definitely do all of the electrical upgrades. And just as a reminder, those upgrades are intended to bring everything up to code as well as position us for energy efficiency, additional energy efficiency additions, which becomes
That'd be current code.
Oh, not 1960s code. No, this would be current code. Yeah, yeah. It's really something that is it has to be done. Nice to be done. And we did hire a civil engineer and an technical engineering to do a site study that is currently underway. But it seems pretty likely that some of that money will be used for doing some excavating, essentially around some of the buildings, the water slopes in instead of out, and so it'll be good to have that done before we invest in. The RFQ for legal services, we received 2 responses. And a meeting is set up later this week with a review committee. And I want to thank Carl and Betsy for agreeing to participate in that process. So by the next meeting, we should have a report out on which direction we'll be heading for legal services. Staffing update, obviously the most exciting news is that Sarah has joined us. There's a couple of additional positions that we are recruiting for. One is a maintenance aide. You may recall we promoted the maintenance aide into the maintenance tech position. So I think we've got it narrowed down to one candidate, but we have some additional take place. And the other position is stash coordinator for the Sheldon Towers Temple and Court. Cameron. Rutland Area Bridge Housing, a program of Housing Initiatives Inc. Wanted to update you that we are currently in the process of renegotiating the memorandum of agreement with the Rutland Regional Medical Center for the 2 units that they have available to them to discharge patients who otherwise be ineligible because of homes. We have had some changes at Bridge. Previous site coordinator is left, and we are going to be grouping around the entire bridge project, programming, updating documents, policies, procedures to roll out to our community partners. Our goal, which is to transition folks out of bridge into long-term affordable housing, has been complicated a bit because what we used to rely on in the form of medium-term rental assistance. For the time being, it's been depleted the funds that are managed by the Homeless Prevention Center. But we don't have those, not only do we not have the funds to support the initial occupancy at that bridge, but we also are dealing with transitioning people out because there's no rental assistance. So really our sole source of getting long-term housing is our inventory as well as housing trust development. A little challenging there, but like I said, we are regrouping, regrouping under Carolyn's Grayson's leadership to refine the existing program and to determine how we move forward with that. One of the new things I also want to report is that Metro Connector, who runs the Foster Youth and Transition Program here at the Rockland area, has asked for an additional unit, bringing their units up to 3. That not only helps to fulfill our mission, but it also brings some additional financial stability to the program and the property. So that contract has been signed, or I should say, the contract amendment signed. It was moved in on around October 1st.
What are we looking at for like an average stay time at the bridge facility? Folks who are using that.
Yeah,
Months.
it really depends on the family, and we can provide you with sort of what the average has been over time. I would warn you that within the last 6 to 9 months, that has slowed down a bit because of the lack of long-term affordable housing. I'd also remind the board that much of it is contingent upon the family itself, and we want to. And our goal is to get those families stabilized so that they're ready to move on. So we've had stays as short as a month. Stays most recently, we have one tenant that is up to a year already. So, and that's really as a result of the lack of resources. As our units become available, certainly that's a high priority population that we want to serve. And we'll just continue to work with these folks to identify not only units within our inventory, but also subsidized housing provider. So to answer your question, we'll get the average stay information for you.
Do we have a whole program for for how long? People would say like 6 months, 4 months.
Again, it depends on the family, but certainly 6 months is a good benchmark that we try to achieve.
Do they get first dibs on anything available? Ours, so
Good question. At the time they are admitted to Bridge, they fill out an application for our units, and then the resident service component of the program, in conjunction with the case managers of the sending organization, the hospital, Homeless Prevention Center, work with them on applying for other housing in the community, most notably the Cornerstone. So yeah, I have the ability, by virtue of our cabinet plan, to bump these folks up. Now, regrettably, we're not issuing it in Section 8 property because of the financial challenges there, but in the event, when we do start issuing Section 8 properties again, they would also be. Anything else on Bridge? In your packet, HUD has issued the new fair market rents, it's page 23. And as you can see, there have been some increases in all bedroom configurations. Probably the ones that most impact us would be the 1 and 2 bedrooms. So fiscal year 2025, 1026 for 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. 1257 to 1345. And to recall, it's the fair market rents that we base our Section 8 payment standards on. But although the fair market rents have gone up, the funding for Section 8 did not. So we will do an analysis of what these new payment standards will mean and whether or not we can, out of necessity, I believe we'll need to increase based on the fair market rents, because we know we've gone over fair market rents and that our payment standards are not sufficient to secure the units out in the community. So these section participants. So I think we're somewhere between 100 and 103%. So for the larger bedroom sizes, we may need to reduce that closer to 100% of it. Questions on that? Inspire. This falls under the category of no good deed will be left unpunished. We moved away from the old HQS inspection standards for our Section 8 units, and indeed all our units, to a new program called Inspire, National Standards for Companies. We did this about a year ago. Not quite a year ago. We provided education to our landlords, and we started implementing our PHA web software to not only conduct the inspections, but to upload those inspections to our legacy software program. HUD announced about a week ago that they're going to postpone full implementation of Inspire until next year. We are not going to go backwards on this. We'll continue to use those standards for the Section 8 program. And if indeed that's our independent entity that comes into the Springfield Housing Authority, they come in annually to do inspections of our units. And we have asked that they use the Inspire standard for purposes. And in fact, they'll be coming in next month to do some quality control inspections of our critical housing choice mainstream units. We talked about Mentor Connector. We had a very productive, again, under the category of HAI group. Last month, there was a very productive Vermont Members Collaborative meeting all over Springfield. And we addressed safety committees and contingency plans, business continuity plans, and reviewed some of the loss numbers specifically for Vermont. And pleased to report that we didn't contribute to any claims last year. What shall I say? That the claims coming out of Vermont are nearly non-existent. Business continuity planning. We have a business continuity plan and emergency response plan. As you know, the funding for the SASH embedded mental health program was set to expire October 31st, end of this month. There was a significant balance in that account administered by Cathedral Square Corporation because of the relatively slow rollout of that program. The last number that I heard was 1.5 million. And we did hear from HSS that they are approving a rollover of those funds into the next fiscal year. So that'll keep that program going for a while, at least through the next federal fiscal year. The People's Square Corporation, along with our support, is continuing to work to secure funding for federal. I told you about the loss prevention fund award. And with that, unless there's any questions for me.
On the finance.
Sarah, would you like to do the finance? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's
Yes,
not even funny. So in your packet, you'll find the July budget actuals. Again, we in good shape. And we continue to run a positive variance. I don't have a variance report for you this month, but we will. Sarah and I will work on that through the October board meeting. I do have the cash flow report, and don't be concerned about this. There are some, in the absence of a finance director, there are some transfers in the general account that have not yet taken place. So you'll see that in June, our cash balance was 953, 942, 47. And in July, it was 831, 827, 38. But again, this is due to some lifetime between June and posting to July.
That's July, right?
Yeah. And as you may recall, the previous Director of Finance left on July 25th, so there was some market. Yeah, pass it around for the board and for Sarah. Copy of Sarah's.
Okay.
Oh, the audit update for fiscal year ending 3/31/25. There are a couple of odds and ends that need to be forwarded to the auditors. One of them is the Beavers, Vermont Municipal Employees Retirement System report, which is something that we get through the provide us. Yeah. I'll hold it for you to carry the value over on the audited financials and then anticipated.
Liability that could be on.
Yeah. So hopefully by next month, we will have that,
Like one of the last.
yes, have that completed. As you know, we entered into an agreement with an expanded engagement letter with CBIZ, our key accounting firm, and they have been very helpful in working with us to ensure that any financial reports that needed to be submitted were in fact submitted in the time limit. So we will continue that engagement during Sarah's onboarding process, so that she has a good reason to follow the accountant. If you look at page 24, this is the initial review for our insurance renewals, which come out November 1st. We're still waiting on the AGI group renewal notice and premium notice. As you get a notice saying that they are going to renew us, which is good. As far as business auto, we're not envisioning a really big increase there, nor are we envisioning from HAI group on our property casualty, or property liability. Employment practices pretty much flat at 5%. Professional liability, this is for our sash staff, again, pretty much flat. Crime flat, workers' compensation, we expect about a 5% increase. We did have a modest increase in our variance mod. Variance rating, lower is better, right? Or higher is better, lower is better. Lower is better. So it increased slightly from 1.29 to 1.35, and that's due in large part to a single employee who has been on and off of the insurance, workers' comp insurance, and again we're looking at about a 5% increase there. Cyber liability, 5 to 10%, and this is our rates are a reflection of the market, and as you know, cybersecurity continues to be a huge issue for many organizations. There's a lot of unauthorized access and ransomware. So 5 to 10% is actually a bit of a blessing. Modest increase for the Community Housing Owners Association. This is the essentially the association that receives the 3 phases of Hickory Street. Housing Inc., Bridge Housing, the group that we have been utilizing since the beginning, is a group called the Nonprofit Alliance for Insurance. They are getting out of habitational market, so our friends at Fisher are looking for an alternative coverage, a different company that is still in the habitational market. This is not something that, because of the nature of the program, HAI Group did not fund transitional housing sites. So and then you can see the mutual renewals. Slight increase of 4% linked to inflation. Just a reminder, we had a $170,000 claim in 2021, which may impact our renewal. We don't anticipate that, but I think we need to be prepared for that. 117,000 was a fire. The fire took place in London, mostly London. That's the initial report on that. Just a brief overview, already an outline more than anything. We're completing the renewal applications. One has been completed. From Aperture to review the actual list. In your packet, you'll see the RHA update for September. In that for leisure, I will say that we had a couple of tenants at Shelton Towers who cleaned up this year at the Vermont State Fair with their hats and paintings and pickle preserves and whatnot. So that was kind of fun. Yeah. So with that, Mr. Chair, unless there's any questions on the Finance Administration report, I'll put that to you for occupancy. Occupancy.
So this, since our last meeting, I've reached out to 2 new people, 2 new tenants. Just be on the board, we got a few more that will be coming available shortly. I do have somebody for 804. That one is tentatively going to be ready around the first of the month. And then they're going to move on to the other ones. After that, we have people ready to go for those units as well. So everything's looking pretty good there as far as no units that are open and available. Other than that, everything went good. The last board meeting, everything went well at the Hickory Street inspections that happened about a month ago. good, they're very pleased. Everything else, I'd say it's going pretty well. Gretchen and I are working together to find some tenants for, there is one or two of those units over on the pending side there that we're still looking for people for, but other than that, pretty good.
Does a butterfly mean anything?
That means it was her daughter Gina's 5th birthday last
Oh,
week.
yeah.
She was here.
She was here.
There's a bunch of them.
I was wondering where this coming. I thought it was like a golden star for the, units in, make ready for Hickory Street, so that's pretty cool.
Property management.
I'm working on 5 rather challenging evictions for cause. Some of them are proving a little harder than I thought because of the lack of ability to obtain police reports, but we're working on it. We did manage to accomplish all the barbecues for all 4 locations, and we had pretty good turnout at about every location. They are working currently halfway through the project of staining the decking and cedar siding around Temple Court, and that's wrapping up and halfway done. And then they're going to be working on painting the tree lot, probably starting next week. So that must all be one thing to learn.
You own the building that's right at the end of the parking lot here to the right. It's like somebody's thrown through the,
They're right,
no, all the spindles on the deck are, looks like somebody got thrown or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Even
Did you see that? Did you see it?
yeah, they're repairing that. That just needs some. A little
Oh,
work.
because there's like 6 or 8 of them.
Well, it's, as I'm sure you can appreciate, Jim, the quality of lumber is not what it used to be. So I think the problem was some warping there, the pressure treated. So, yeah, we're, I didn't notice that. So I'm like, I will tell you, that,
Do we own that
Well,
reasonable.
I just want one fixed, that's all.
My wife likes to feed the birds.
Keep up, lay down.
No, she's not the lady downtown. I've convinced her for a very long time that you have to stop feeding the birds at a particular point in time.
Bears are coming
And
in.
it's spring, because the bears come in. She did not believe me, and this sort of relates to your question. There was a feeder on our deck. Includes a fenced-in yard. He broke through the railing to get to the bird feeder. So,
Once.
and decided the stairs were too much, or jumping the fence was too much, so he fought through the railings. At any rate,
We have approved that the security system for Tremont or Templewood here. So we're last to order the products, and as soon as it all comes in, we'll start putting in security cameras that will catch this about every part of the recovery here. And then they're going to go down to Sheldon and look at some places that the city police have recommended we add a few additional cameras and lighting down there for safety.
Do evictions for cause seem like the fastest way these days?
no, we're not paying for this by far and away faster. The 4 cause evictions are complicated. Frankly, the court system treats affordable housing properties a little different than they do the private landlords. I know you're going to find that surprising that it could be any slower for us than it is for you. Yeah, it's a real challenge. And although we have 5 very complicated ones right now, Gretchen has had enormous success in that area. So, obviously our goal is never to evict. In fact, I was saying that when you get evicted from one of our properties, you truly burn your bridges. But I would also say that property management and resident services are meeting regularly to try to intervene as early as possible. so as to keep people housed, but it's those always requires cooperation of the town. So, possible. And well, yeah, there's two related ones as a result of a tenant-on-tenant conflict, which resulted in one of the tenants being knocked unconscious. So noticing you can't. That's a non-negotiable.
On video.
Yeah. So, Gretchen, anything else? Moving on to section 8. Others on vacation, your section 8 reports are in the board packet. Starting with the EIV report, you probably recall EIV stands for the Unified Income Verification System. It's a HUD managed system, and whenever there's a discrepancy between what the federal government has as income and the tenant reported income, we're required to follow up with that tenant to ascertain whether it's actually have reported income or an error from the part of the ID, or sometimes the ID takes a little while to catch up. So I would say that in all of our situations, there is an action plan in place, which could mean that no intervention is necessary to the tenant actually not reporting that income and requiring to enter into a repayment agreement to recover that excess subsidy. Pretty quiet, as you can imagine, in section 8. There are no lease ups currently. So we redirected some of Heather's efforts in some other areas of the organization, supporting occupancy to help develop standard operating procedures. The two reports, cash flow tracking report, and the other is the mainstream report. I'm sorry, the other is the PAC funding and projected PAC expenses. They're pretty consistent with what's happening in subcommittee to our protocol status. i.e. the projected expenses exceed expected revenues for the balance of the year. That being said, thanks to the efforts of a number of departments, we are out of the shortfall provision for our housing choice voucher program. Which isn't to say we can start leasing up, but rather we're at essentially a break-even point, which is good news. Mainstream is running in the shortfall position, but I just received the reports from our key accountants. I haven't had a chance to look at them, but I know last month is pretty close to getting out of shortfall in the mainstream. My hope is that these interventions are going to, at some point, lead to being able to issue a limited number of new vouchers. But time will tell. The 2026 budget through the Congress still in reconciliation mode. The Senate, which is not terribly unusual, their budget allocated additional funds for section 8, whereas the House proposal would result in a significant cut. So hopefully they'll come to some resolution, and we obviously would like to send this. I want to provide you an update on Cornerstones, Maple Village project out in West Rutland. They are moving towards completion. And, as you may recall, prior to shortfall fees in our choice voucher program. We did enter into a housing assistance payment agreement with them for some project-based Section 8 vouchers. And in that situation, is required to fund those new vouchers, new project-based vouchers. We're also sort of related, but unrelated. We have a number of families who are overhoused at Hickory Street. When I say overhoused, I mean the total number of tenants, the total number of residents in that unit falls short of the number of bedrooms that are required for that family occupancy standards. So we're working with Cornerstone to try to utilize their new units to transition some of the overhoused folks at Hickory Street into a more permanent sized unit. And that will open up those Hickory Street units for larger families. And that's obviously a goal of ours is to house as many people as possible. But to have one person in a 3-bedroom unit doesn't achieve that goal. So we're making an effort to transfer that one person into a efficiency or 1-bedroom at Marble Village. And as I said, that'll open up for 3-bedroom for a family that requires.
Is the Marble Village, is that the one that you built across from just before? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
one? Is that the Marble Village?
Yeah.
And now on Brainsville?
Yep.
See, it's incentive for the one person.
Yeah.
Because, I mean.
Well-
They get a reduction.
In all likelihood, they'll see a reduction in their rent, and at some point, we're going to need to call the question in terms of their continued tendency in a unit that is far larger than they need. We'd like to start with the carrot rather than the stick, but really, they're paying too much in rent. And they're taking up a unit where a larger family could reside. And we'll look at other possibilities in the form of incentives.
Where they're used to living.
Yeah, certainly, that's a great point. And it's not going to work for every family. Certainly, families with children are going to be less inclined to move because they would changing school districts and changing schools. But we're going to take this on a case by case basis. Something that is reasonable for everyone. That's it, and it seems to be the Kevin show this month.
Resident service.
Yeah, resident services. Carol had a last minute situation come up with one of her children. So, in your packet, you'll find her report along with the SASH event calendars and the SASH flash for September of 2025. We already talked about the embedded mental health program that with the SASH. Continue for a while. And I think that staff were happy with the picnics that we sponsored at beach park sites. So anything additional? Either Greg or Gretchen would like to report. Greg was our chef extraordinaire, and I suspect that we're never going to go back to.
I hope we never go back to Lynn.
Don't mention the name of who we used to pass because we're not being recorded. But no, I mean, obviously what Greg provided was a vast improvement.
And then that's it, the personal, they really do enjoy
Yeah, the
that.
personal touch.
They truly do.
Yeah, had a good turnout, so we'll do that annually. Gretchen, anything else on that you want to report? So with that, Mr. Chair, today, but I would like to ask for motion for an executive
Yeah.
Go to executive session.
Motion to executive session. All in favor, say aye. Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're kind of in front of you as usual.